understanding about the presentation or how to be responsible towards your own PhD journey. Because as you know, PhD is the highest level of study. You do not need to study after that in terms of, but it's only gathering information, gathering knowledge, enhancing your knowledge, right? So this is a small presentation on how to be more responsible. This is more like tips and tricks that you can actually put together yourself. Okay, this is a particular tips and tricks that I could manage to gather when I did my PhD. I graduated not very long ago. I graduated my PhD in 2017, and this is still valid. I always believe this is still valid. The tips I'm going to share with you: how can you address the issue? How can you be more responsible towards your PhD so that you have a smoother flow of your research, and also you can able to finish your PhD on time. Okay. In the meantime, if you have questions, queries, I will like to take it at the end. So at the end of my presentation, I have a lot of time for all of you to discuss with me issues, questions, queries, anything that you're stuck in your own PhD research, mainly academic matters, then I could able to definitely help you out. So let me start with the outline for this presentation. So I'm going to focus on what is PhD, how long does it take, selecting a PhD, then some PhD myths that you need to avoid, then what is a PhD in terms of understanding from different perspective issues and the solutions that I'm going to give you. And lastly is the conclusion. Right. So what is a PhD? PhD is the highest degree of graduate study. So this is the highest degree. There is no more degree beyond it. Some people say there is postdoc, but postdoc is not really a degree. It's more like you want to contribute to the research. So you want to work for a particular research. It could be a project, it could be a grant that you want to contribute and keep on doing it. All right. So PhD is all about original contribution, something that is very original from your side. It is not something which is already there. That's why you need to read a lot. Your supervisor always asks you, read a lot, understand this, try to get more articles, try to read more in this particular area. So the reason is it is about contribution. If you don't have enough contribution, you would lead to a bad result. It will lead to that you might fail your PhD even, right? Because it won't be a good, powerful PhD. Right. So more likely to ask why things are done in certain ways. So the main agenda of your PhD is to question everything. Question why is it done this way, or how you can make it better through different ways. You can do a new research method, you can do a new approach, you can do various perspective of research. Like for example, a study being done in a quantitative way for years and years. Now you like to employ a qualitative aspect of it to understand why things are like this. Okay, so that could be a contribution to the PhD or to your particular topic that you are researching about, right? So it is more like analytical thinking and justify. Always remember, anything you're proposing to anybody, you need to justify why you are saying this. What is the reasoning behind it? Right? These are very important when you are doing research, because PhD is not a coursework. Okay, there is nobody to teach you everything. It is you who is very, very focused on something that you are trying to create, more like the contribution you're trying to make, right? So how long does it take to do your PhD? So in TALIS, our graduate on time is only 3 years. In the other parts of the world, there could be 4 years or even 7 years. Okay, so I believe all of you might have received notification from CHDR that you need to pass your thesis proposal defense within this stipulated time, which is full time. I mean, all the international students, you have only 12 months to finish to pass your proposal defense. So the moment you get into TALIS, let's say, for example, your intake was in June 2021. By 2022 June, you need to pass your PhD proposal defense. That is the concept, or this is the purpose of it, because you are just doing research, nothing, no courseworks or anything else. So that's why it need to be very important that you need to be focused what you're doing, how you can do it, how you can finish on time. All right. So there are a lot of students, what I have noticing had been a huge delay. Even 2 years has passed. Some student has passed 3 years already, but couldn't able to finish their proposal defense. The result is they will go in academic probation. The moment you go in academic probation, okay, it is a red signal for you. Okay, if you go in academic probation 1, you didn't do anything, you go to academic probation 2, after that there is nothing, you will be out of this particular program. Okay, so that's why I want you people to take this thing very, very seriously in terms of how you can graduate on time and by focusing on what you're doing the research. Now, I will go through some of the common problems and the solution that can help you out in terms of to focus more on your study, and you can able to finish your research much, much faster. So why is it so hard to graduate on time? There could be a lot of issues and so on, right? It could be academic issues, it could be personal issues, but could be other issues, administrative issues. There could be, that you don't have the basic understanding about research and you need to read it once more, you need to restart once more. You wrote it something, it didn't really work out, so you need to start it again. So there are a lot of issues could be there, and which actually can hamper your graduate on time, your timeline particularly. So the first thing is this selecting a PhD topic. I believe many of you have selected a PhD topic. Some of you are still in the phase of selecting your PhD topic, but always remember your goal is one. Okay, your goal is to select a particular topic. You need to have some specific objective about it. Now, the objective should be realistic, should be measurable, should be specific, should be achievable, and should be time bound. You cannot just select an objective, it will take 5 to 7 years to complete, right? That is not a feasible one. So your objective of your research is very, very important, and it should have these qualities, these 5 qualities, right? So you're specifically, whenever you're selecting a PhD topic, you always need to think about their advisor or your supervisor is in that specific area, right? That's why we always assign you a supervisor who belongs from this particular area of your research so that they can guide you much more better. Okay. Now, the next part is the one you like. Do not choose a particular topic that you just want to finish your PhD. Always remember, PhD is for one time. Okay. And you're not going to repeat once more. So always select a topic that you like, and you have to remain stagnant with that for the rest of your life. So it's not because PhD is just, if you think is a coursework, or if you just think of, oh, I need to finish this 3 years, that's it, done. It's just a start. PhD is just a start to your career. Okay, it will not going to go over. The time will come, you need to supervise students. Then what you will do, because your area of expertise of something that you didn't like it in your PhD, but you're still doing it. So always remember to choose a topic that you like, all right? Area which not too mature, okay? Something that is still, there is a scope of doing something. For example, many people choose, let's say, service quality. Service quality is a well-matured topic. A lot of aspect been done. So always look for an area which is upcoming, which is new, which is very much implementable in the industry, because at the end of the day, you need to gather information and you have to discuss something that could be applicable to the industry. All right, area that is not too immature. All right, so something that is very, very new, which not been implemented, you shouldn't choose that as well. Because the moment you choose that, I am telling you what's the problem you're going to face. You will not going to find any literature and you are stuck there. I believe I heard from many students who just choose a topic and then, oh, there is no literature. Of course, because the topic is very immature, right? So that is the reason you have to choose a topic which is not too mature and also not too immature, so that you can be very focused on what you're trying to do in terms of achieving your goals. All right. Now, pick an area which is trendy, something that is really happening in your industry. It's a hospitality industry, it could be tourism industry. So you need to pick a topic which is very, very trendy in the current scenario. All right. Now, not to be too trendy or too common, because if it's too common, nobody care about it, right? You will have less amount of contribution because the competition is very, very high. Everybody is doing it, right? Not too trendy in terms of that the not trendy, less impact or less recognition in terms of that nobody cares. If something is very immature and you are choosing not too trendy, then it will have a less impact. So your contribution through your PhD research will be very, very less. So whenever you are choosing these particular topic or any topic for your PhD, you need to keep in your mind that these should be the points, okay? Because you are the one who is going to decide. Your supervisor will check and you need to justify your supervisor, okay? So it is everything, a big responsibility is yours, okay? And don't think about it, everybody has gone through the same stage. I also gone through the same stage. Anybody have achieved their PhD also gone through the same stage. It is you who need to be more responsible about it, all right? So there are some PhD myths that still are there. Many discussion happen in groups and so on. So what is the first PhD myth? That you need to be genius to do a PhD. You do not need to be a genius to do PhD. It is more like diligence, not intelligence. You need to be very diligent about your work. You need to work hard. You do not need to be so much intelligent, right? But you need to have a practice, or you should practice every day to read something, write something, and that is your diligence. Okay. And that diligence will help you to achieve your PhD at the end of the day. Another is managing, selecting, and justifying. This is the very, very important part. Whenever you are reading something, whenever you are discussing with your supervisor, try to be very justifying. Don't say, I found out this and I don't know the reason. I read somewhere, but I forgot the citation. Do not do this. Always try to justify what you're saying, who said it, how you get this evidence, from where you have received this evidence. Okay, so this could be very useful whenever you are even justifying during your proposal defense or maybe your final viva, that what you have found out, where is the source of it, and how you can justify your proposal or your proposition. Right now, the next myth is always focusing on your research will change the world. No, it's not going to change the world, right? You are not going to change the world at the end of your PhD. You are just merely contributing something. You need to finish a time-bound project. That's it, not to win a Nobel Prize, right? So you are not here to do a PhD research which can win you a Nobel Prize, but you need to finish something that is bounded with time, which you have 3 years only. Right? So you need to be very specific, very disciplined about it, more like diligent about it to finish your work on time, right? Now, the next aspect is the PhD is the best masterpiece. It's not, right? PhDs cannot be the best masterpiece for you, okay? There are a lot of research that you're going to do in future, which could be much, much better than your PhD. It happens. So that's why PhD is just a learning process. As I said earlier, you are just starting. Your PhD is just a start. It's just not a finish, but it's just a start of your career. Wherever you're going to work, you will demonstrate that you have learned something. Because always remember, your students of your future will look up to you, because you will become a supervisor after you graduate, right? You'll be start supervising your student. So just remember, it's a matter of your respect, that what you have learned, you're going to teach them. So what are the common issues that always comes in when you're trying to do a PhD? I will going to discuss some of the issues that I believe you will find very common, what you have been through, and also some solution, how it can help you out in regards to solving those particular issues. So issue number one, managing supervisor. That is the biggest issue, right? Always remember your role of your supervisors is very, very specific. Okay, if they have research project, they will apply for funding. If your research is very, very good and can look for funding, you can do that. You can use your proposal to look for funding even. So your supervisor can help you out in that particular way. Okay, meet up weekly to talk about progress. So you need to build up this habit. You know, sometimes I have noticed many students who just not meeting up their supervisor. They're afraid. It is, it is known that, everybody is afraid. Nobody wants to, but you are not cheating your supervisor. You are not, doing a supervisor, like, thinking, oh, my student is not meeting, but you are actually cheating yourself. Your progress has been delayed, right? You cannot graduate on time. You cannot, because the moment you cross the time limit, it's you will be going to academic probation. Your supervisor will not. So always remember, whenever you are delay in your work, you are not really escaping your supervisor, but you are delaying yourself. You are cheating yourself. Okay, review papers is your role of supervisor. So whenever you submit your research progress, whenever you submit what the work you have done, they are bound to review your papers. They will always give you constructive criticism. That is their part. That is their main part. That how you can develop or how you can enhance your research. Okay, they will recommend you some topics that could be useful for you. Okay, to do your research. Then also promote student works and so on. So whenever you submit a very good work, as I said, they can apply for funding, they can apply for research grant to help you out in this particular regard, because the role of a supervisor is very, very important. And always remember, the best friend of yours during your PhD is your supervisor, nobody else. Nobody else. If you are not friend with your supervisor, it is very difficult. Yeah, I am telling you, because we all have some experience. All the people who have done their doctoral degree, the supervisor is their best friend during these 3 years of journey. So how can you manage your supervisor in terms of another issue is advertise or advising style. So how your supervisor advise you, that also creates an impact on you, right? So if you can see from this particular cartoon that how you see yourself, you have a complex human being, you have hopes, dream, aspiration from different aspects, but how your professors or how your supervisor sees you, it's just a brain on a stick. So how is your research? They will ask you always, right, this question. So how is your research? You always need to remember that whatever you are saying, you have to have some justification. You are saying this because this thing. Okay, I have done this much of research because I found out so many good research articles. So it is all your effort. Okay, but this style may evolve based on how you interact with your supervisor. If you're just staying away from your supervisors also will stay away, and the time will come, you will be out of the program, your supervisors will get a new student. So this is how it's going to move on, and this is going to happen to you as well. When you become a supervisor, always remember the future, because one day will come, you will act like this because you have so many students to supervise. Okay, and it will happen, they will give you time, but if your student will stay away from you, you will care less, right? So that is one of the biggest problem, that most of the students just try to stay away from their supervisor. So what could be the solution? How can you manage your supervisor? So this is the solution number one. One of the main reasons to fail a PhD is the conflict between your supervisor, miscommunication. what you are informing your supervisor, what you're doing at the end, that could lead to miscommunication. So try to be very clear what you have done, how much you have done. If you didn't do also, please be very truthful about yourself. Okay, respect each other culture. That is very, very important. Be polite and show respect. And as I said, be honest. If you didn't do anything, inform your supervisor, I couldn't able to do anything. Nothing gonna happen. Okay, your supervisor will say you need to be more diligent about your work. Always remember, you are not cheating your supervisor, you are cheating yourself, right? So that's why be more focused. Tell them what you are learning and what you have learned. That is the very important aspect, because if you don't tell them that what you have learned, it will going to impact you in future. Okay, because always remember, what you are doing today, your students will do in the same way in future. So just remember how could be more responsible, how you could be more responsible towards your supervisor. All right, teach them something new. That is very, very important. You are not going to follow all the direction given by your supervisor. You need to always sit down, do a discussion that this is rational, this is not rational. You have to teach them as well. Because always remember, at the end of the day, the degree will be yours. The degree will not be your supervisor's. Okay, so you will be the doctorate of that specific area of research that you are doing now. All right, so that's why it is very important for you to understand, for you to go progress with it, and make sure that you graduate on time and you understand what is your role. Right now, another solution is, what does the supervisor expect? So what your supervisor expect, that you can able to do your work independently. Okay, your supervisor is can tell you, okay, go this particular way, but your supervisor will not going to see, okay, what are the hurdles are there, you need to cross the hurdle, because that's how you're going to learn. If you're not learning today, how can you supervise your student that you are going to do after you graduate, right? So you need to make sure that you can work independently, and that's what the supervisors expect. Be productive, okay, in terms of producing quality work. Now, your supervisor role is to look for that particular aspect, that how much you are working. And as I repeating once again, be honest. Okay, I repeat this twice, but be honest about what you've been doing and how you've been doing. Because as I said, you are not cheating anybody, you are just cheating yourself. All right, so make sure you focus on your work, what is required to be done, and how you can produce quality work. All right. Now, the issue number two, it is time management. There are a lot of issues about time management, and that is the reason most of the time students couldn't able to do their proposal defense on time. All right, so 12 months, it is very short, because for the last 8 months, they have been reading, reading, and reading. Okay, but there are so many things to read, right? Of course, we know there are so many things to read, but stop procrastinating. So that's why you need to read more every day. Build a habit of reading at least 5 to 6 articles every single day. If you build up this habit, believe me, there will nobody to stop you to graduate within 3 years, because it's a good for you as well. You've been hanging for the last 4 5 years. It is not helping you out. You will be out of the program very, very soon. That's the reason, right? So embrace your research issues. You understand your research issues. What is the problem? How I can solve it? Discuss with your supervisor, meet them every week, and then you progress. Because if you are stopped, if you're not doing it, it is not helping your research. At the end of the day, you need to read your own research. You need to do your own research. Okay. So that is one of the biggest issue. So what is the solution you can get? What is the solution you can do for this? So no one has the best solution. Nobody, right? It is up to you, because you need to think about how is your personal life, how is your professional life, if you're working full time or if you're working part time, how you're going to allocate time, right? So if I give you my example, when I started my PhD, I used to work as a part-time. So in that part-time, after going back, I used to every day, there was my routine to sit until 3 a.m. in the morning, from 10 o'clock in the night to 3 a.m. in the morning, to read 5 articles and write 1,000 words every single day. So that's why I could able to finish my PhD within 2 years. Okay, not more than that. I could able to submit everything A to Z within 2 years. Okay, and I passed my defense within 6 months. So depends on how your examiners will take time to give you this is the date and so on. So you need to be very focused, because this is the time, these 3 years you'll be working, so that you don't have to look back. Of course, many things will be depend on you. You need to earn money. You need to be in a college or university. You are just wasting your time, nobody's time. You're just wasting your time. So that's why nobody has the best solution how you're going to manage time, but you need to manage time by yourself. And that is the most particular aspect that you need to consider. So you actually need to higher productivity by working less if you're really smart. So how you allocate time to yourself, that is very, very important. So you only know when is the best time for you to work, but you need to make this habit. Every day you need to read 5 research papers. It's just an example, okay? So 5 research papers, I need to write a certain number of words. In my case, I had a habit of reading 5 papers and writing 1,000 words per day. Okay, no matter what, Saturday, Sunday, have fun, but always focus or give time to your own work. Okay. Now, the next part is the another solution of the supervisor tips. Okay, plan, plan, plan. This is my supervisor tips to all of you, that always plan. If you don't plan, you can never able to progress. Yearly, monthly, weekly, daily goals. As I said, my daily goals was to read 5 papers and write 1,000 words. My weekly plan is to make sure that I summarize what I have read and what I have write into a proper write-up into my thesis, and that's all, right? So breaking your goals into specific tasks, working 2-3 hours in a chunks, 30-minute breaks, it's up to you, but this was my habit, all right? Working up to 3 hours at a project at the same time. So when I used to do part-time, I used to work for 2 different projects as well, research project. But the other way, I had my PhD as well. So it's up to you, how you're going to work. It is not an easy peasy, because of course, PhD is the highest degree that you're going to get. So you need to be more responsible to show your future students that how it should be done. And you need to set an example of yourself. All right. So that's why you need to plan how you are going to finish. What is the deadline for my chapter 1? What is the deadline for my chapter 2? When is the deadline for my chapter 3? When I can go for proposal defense, right? But you need to always justify right. This is the habit. You all need to build up this habit, right? Now, focusing on the issue number 3, that I have to read a lot. Yes, of course, you have to read a lot, but no also. You shouldn't read so much. You always set your theoretical boundaries. I believe all of your supervisor always tells you, you should not read everything, but you should read whatever is your aim and objective, what is related to your aim and objective. If you think about, let's say, a topic of service quality, you're not going to read all the research paper been published in service quality, but you're going to focus on the essential part. What is thing that you need to read? Okay, which are the area? Is it all the research I need to read? Is it all the contextual research I need to read? No, you need to read which is related to your research, right? So you need to decide what is your theoretical boundary, how far you want to go. Okay, so this is the issue number 3, and then the solution that I can always say to you: be more selective. As I said, be more selective. What is the purpose of your research? What is the aim and objective that you have? Focus reading on those. Do not read all the journal articles. Read based on whichever similar journal articles being published in your area. okay, that you can get some new knowledge, that you can tell your supervisor, okay, I have learned about something new today, okay, and this is from this particular author. Use the literature review matrix every single time. What you are reading, write it down, okay, identify the top authors in the area, okay, follow the citation graph, for example, the references, and you read the related paper. Sometimes you find out that there is a very good paper. You love to read that particular paper. You go to the references and you look for what are the articles been cited. Go and download those papers. Go and download from their references other papers. So the moment you see after a week, you already collected 20, 30 papers, right? So this is the way it should be your effort, how you are managing your research, how you could be more productive in a very short time. All right. Now summarize each paper you read in few sentences. As I said, you need to use the literature review matrix where you summarizing what you have read, from where you have read, what the new findings you have found, and how this could be potential for your research. Okay. So you can always refer back to those particular paragraphs and you can always write it down. And last, importantly, is more read critically. What you need to know. Just do not read the paper for the sake of reading. Read it with your senses there. Okay. You might say, oh, I need to read 5 papers every day, but you're just reading it without knowing what you are reading. Do not do that. Read the paper critically, understanding what was the objective of this paper, how this objective was solved, what are the theories being included in the paper, how these theories can help to particularly adapting a research methodology, and then what is the discussion and the conclusion being made in this paper. So you need to read any research paper very, 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 very critically, all right? Because you are no more a kid that need to be guided all the time. You need to listen to videos. There are a lot of videos on YouTube. There are a lot of resources are available online, how to read a research paper, okay? You need to be more focused in that way. It is your responsibility. Always remember, nobody's responsibility, but it's your responsibility, right? Next is the solution number 3, read this book. I always suggest to my students, read this book. This book will tell you your research stuff. Okay, what is the writing style? How should be the reference style, statistics, grammars, and everything, right? I have put the link here so you can download it by putting in your browser. So you can always download this particular book. All right, read this book. It is a really good book, and always have the habit of reading. You need to read a lot during this PhD because that's how you become the expertise of that area. When you become a doctorate of a certain area, you have the knowledge in that area. It's not something that somebody gave you a doctoral degree because you finished a research. No, you know something about it. All right. So that's the reason. Moving forward into issue number 4. And issue number 4 is I have problem with writing. Writing is very, 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 very important. I always say read and write, right? So writing should be routine activity. It not be something I'm going to write after 1 month. I'm going to write after I read this research paper. No, every day read something new, write something new. You have to build up this habit. Otherwise, you can't able to remember. You are not a machine. Always remember, you are not a machine. You are not a computer. All right. So you are a human being. We all are human being. We have biological brains. We don't have electronic brains, right? So not only for your supervisor, for your record. Do not start writing when supervisor asks you, okay, start to write. No, you should start writing from the day one you start reading. The moment you start reading, it will help you to know that, okay, I have wrote this, or I have read somewhere this and I am writing, or I have wrote this particular part and this could be critically analyzed. So a very common mistake most of the time happens is to separate your research time, which is reading time, and from your writing time. It should be together. The read and write, simple as that. The moment you separate it, it will delay your progress. So you have to build up a habit of writing anything. It's okay. Something is better than nothing, right? So you write something. If it's wrong, you make it correction. I believe you're not writing on paper, you're writing on a computer. So always you can, go back and add something new. And that's why after a month, you will see that piece of work has become so much better. All right. So the moment you start to practice this, it will help you to write your work and finish your work much more faster than any of your friends, any of your colleagues, right? And you need to build up this particular habit. All right. Another solution that I have problem with writing is to writing well is difficult. So keep practicing. Everybody know it is very difficult to write academic writing. So keep practicing. See, read the papers, how research papers are written. Try to write it in a very similar way. You need to practice. You're not going to get it in one day. All the people who are actually publishing good papers in a good journals, they have started somewhere. Always remember this. They didn't build up the habit within one night. All right. So you need to keep practice. The more you practice, the better you could be. All right. Get feedback from your supervisor, get feedback from, when you submit to a journal, always get the feedback how the reviewers are reviewing your paper. Print it out and read it loud, because this is where you will get the insight of your writing. You will remember, okay, no, this is not right, doesn't sounds nice. All right, so start rewriting. So writing and rewriting should be a habit that should be there. All right, do not try to write a perfect first draft. Do not focus on that. Write whatever you want. As I said, go back every single day, revise that draft, revise every single day, and after a month you will get to see that how good your writing has become. The moment has become that good, you start writing more. This is the habit you need to build up. I mean, all of you have to build up this habit. Never underestimate how long it will take to write up. Okay, it takes a very, very long time, because sometimes our minds get empty. I don't know what to write. I mean, it happened with me, it's gonna happen with you, it's gonna happen with everybody, and happen with everybody else who has done. So never underestimate that I am reading today, maybe tomorrow I will write. No, do not do that. Start reading and start writing. This is a habit that you are building today to help yourself. You're not helping anybody, you're helping yourself. All right. Now, moving forward, what is another solution? Clarity, clarity, clarity. Focus on your clarity. You do not need to type or write the best English possible. Try to write in a very simple language, because always remember, whoever going to read your research paper or read your research thesis always cannot be a native English speaker. So they don't have to be native English speaker to read your research paper. So that's why focus on clarity, what you're trying to say, what you're trying to, express through this particular statements, your paragraphs and so on. So always focus on flow as well, flow in terms of how you're reading. Whenever anybody is reading your research, they should understand what you're trying to say. There should be flow. It's not something you talked about a particular concept here, then somewhere else, then something else come in between. So everybody lost the flow. So that's why whenever you writing, read it back, read it, enhance it. Okay. Follow the basic paragraph rules. This is very, very important. All right. Topic, your sentence, supporting sentence, concluding sentence. Okay. So what you're going to write about that particular statement. Okay. What is the supporting statements you can have? And then how you're going to conclude that particular sentence. So as I say, many of my students, which I always guide them in terms of whenever you're writing literature review and starting up a concept, always write what is all about, right? Why this particular topic is important, and how this particular topic or how this particular aspect can help you in your research. So these are the three aspects. Okay, what, how, and why. This is the three different aspects that you need to have in every statement, every paragraph, that can help any reader to understand what you're trying to say. Okay, so usually your paragraph shouldn't be no more than 8 lines. Okay, make small paragraph, because if you write one page without any paragraph or anything, the reader will get tired and they will not going to understand. So they will skip, they will give you less marks and so on, and they will try to ask you so many questions about it. And use active voice in terms of whenever you're writing. The other day I was reading somebody's research proposal, and it is just a proposal, but use a passive voice. That you shouldn't use a passive voice whenever you're writing your research, because it is your research. You're not writing on behalf of anybody, right? It is your research that you are writing, and you're writing for the readers to read. You are not writing for yourself. Okay, so writing is thinking. The more you write, the better your thinking capability will be. All right, so this is the solutions that I have for you. Try to practice this, it will help you out. So another aspect is to the solution number 4, okay, focusing on use all the opportunity to learn English, because learning English is very important. I believe many of your native language is not English, but you need to learn. You need to learn and you need to focus in that particular aspect. So get professional help. Remember that isn't your supervisor job to proofread where you have done the mistake, grammatical mistake, punctuation, conjunction, wherever you have made the mistake. It is not your supervisor's job. Okay, so that's why you need to help yourself to learn English, right? They only have limited time available for you to use your time the most effectively. So try to use their supervisor's time in a more effective way, learning where you can improve your research, your PhD, not your English. Okay, so you need to remember this aspect and need to try to, work again and again on this particular aspect. The issue number 5 is making progress. That is very important, right? So progress is measurable by output, not time. No matter you spend 14 hours in reading, if you wrote up maybe one sentence, there is no output. We cannot measure it, right? Because most of the time, your supervisor will not look into how many hours you spend in writing. They will see your write-up, what you have wrote. So that's why you need to start, read and write at the same time, right? So a good explanation, publication, write-up, it is very, very important whenever you are showing your progress. There are no rules on how to allocate time for research. If you ask yourself whether you're making enough progress, you ask yourself. You do not need to ask anybody else. Ask yourself, really ask yourself that, am I doing enough? Am I reading enough? Am I writing enough? You need to ask yourself, because you are adult enough. Whenever you are doing PhD, we all supervisors believe that you're adult enough, right? You know what is the real life, you know how the studies goes on, what is a study and what is a PhD and so on. So you need to ask yourself, are you doing well? Are you doing enough, right? Do not waste your time and energy on problem. Focus on the solution, right? There are a lot of problems everywhere. Somebody have personal issues, somebody's scared, didn't eat today, so you don't want to read anything. You couldn't able to go and run your morning exercise, so you feel tired. That's why you're not reading and researching. Put the excuses and the problem aside. Focus on what you can do, right? Now, do not compare your progress with others. And this is a big issue, right? With everybody, I mean, whoever PhD student I came across and talked about it, always they compare with their friends. Okay, my friends is doing this and I couldn't able to do this. My friend is using this methodology. Why not I am using this methodology? Always remember, your research is unique. No matter you are doing in the same area, you can do a qualitative approach, you can do a mixed method approach, you can do a quantitative approach. Your research is unique. There is no fight between your friends, no fight between your colleagues in order to see who is doing what. Okay, it is your research. You should always focus on what your aim and objective is asking, not what your friend is asking. Your friend may be suggesting, oh, why are you using this qualitative method? You can use quantitative method. No, you should go back and read your aim and objective. What is your aim and objective? Which should be the right method? So based on the nature of your study, You should do your progress, or you should choose your methodology. You should choose the software you're going to use. It is your research. It is not that person's research or not your friend research. It is your research. So your problem is unique. Your research is unique. Do not compare with others. That's why in PhD, you'll never see marks, either pass or fail, right? All of our modules that you have done, you'll always get to see either you pass or either you failed, right? So that is the purpose, because everybody's research is unique. Whatever you are learning, it is for yourself, not for your friend, not for your family member, or not for your parents or anybody else, right? So that's why you need to be more productive in this way. Another one, weekly meetings can be very, very helpful. This could be a very good solution for you. So it's okay to have nothing substantial to report to your supervisor, but make this a habit. Okay, that you need to be productive every time. Every time, whenever you're meeting your supervisor, you need to have something to show to that particular person, right? Your supervisor, because they are the person that's going to help you. So use this opportunity to discuss issues and potential that you can bring out from your research. Always remember, it is your research. So you should have the fullest control over it. If your supervisor asks you, can you justify me what you have written? You should be prompting out that, yes, I can justify, because it is my research and I know the best. You need to act like this. You need to be more rational from this way. So the best way to explain things is to provide evidences, references, citations. Okay, so that's the best way. Do not tell them, oh, I read this somewhere 2 weeks ago and I find this. No, provide evidences, because everything works in PhD or research is based on evidences. Okay, it doesn't work based on what you have read, what you have known about it, and so on. So a good exercise to explain your research is to read and write. Okay. All right, so what is the conclusion? The best way, or the only way to find out how to do a PhD, is to do one. Okay, so there is no good solution, there is no good way, but you need to focus based on your capability, your capacity, and what you can do the best about it, right? So that's why always focus on this, what you can do, how you can do it better. All right, so always ask question to yourself, am I progressing well? Am I doing well? What I have learned this week, what I have wrote this week. If you do this, I am sure most of you will able to finish your PhD very, very early. Okay, but you need to build this habit, because as I said, you're not cheating anybody. You're not cheating the university. You're not cheating your supervisor. You're not cheating your parents. You're just cheating yourself if you're not progressing. All right, so that's why it's very, very important. So I have put some references here that you can always refer to. Okay, yeah, I have put some link and so on. So I will share this PPT with all of you and your friends who couldn't able to join and so on. So you can learn something about it, right? And this is very, very important. Read, 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 and write, write, write. Simple as that. And always plan. If you don't plan, you cannot able to achieve your goals on time, right?